What up, y'all? Shots with Jay back at it again with another one. I know it's been kind of a little minute since I had one of these comparison videos, but hey, never too late, right? We're back at it. So this one, I mean, honestly, it's not going to be the most traditional comparison, and that's just because the frames are not going to be the same size. But actually, I think this is a really good comparison because a lot of these are the two most common. You got a micro compact over here, and the one representing the micro compact, it's going to be the Shield Plus. This one is chambered in 30 super carry, but if you have the 9mm, it's the exact same dimensions, the exact same size, the exact same everything, literally. So the 30 super carry right there, and then over here we got the Beretta APX A1 compact. Okay, so again, this is also going to be a very popular size. Just because it's just what's mostly bought, this and the micro compact, and you can more or less compare this one to roughly the size of a G19, Glock 19. Not exactly the same dimensions, just because it's definitely a thick baby right here, but it's just so you can kind of get a rough framework of what we're dealing with right here. So I guess honestly, I mean, I have the reviews on them on their own already on my channel. Go ahead and check them out. I got the Shield Plus, and then I got the APX A1 compact. So for a comparison, we're gonna go ahead and compare the slides, the barrels, the magazines, the capacity, all of that stuff, right? So this is just on the top, so you can see how much thicker. Let me go ahead and focus this thing. You know how it can get sometimes. Let me go ahead and focus. There you go. All right, well, you guys can see how much thicker the slide is on the APX A1 compact. Yes, it is a compact, and yes, the Shield Plus is a micro, but either way, right, regardless, you got sometimes micros that have the same slide length, you know what I mean? So you know, you can't really consider that too much for the thickness, maybe a little bit, but you can tell right here it is a little night and day. And of course there's pros and cons to that, right? More mass, generally you're going to be able to tame it better, just because, you know, it can go ahead and absorb that recoil more, you know, on the muzzle flip throughout every round when it cycles. But at the same time, the Shield Plus is pretty thin and small, and you can see that it's a lot easier to conceal. So if you're looking for something just based off concealability, which of course, right, is a huge factor for like a lot of people, then the Shield Plus would be the way, right? But at the same time, maybe you're a little recoil sensitive. And you can also go ahead and check out the footprint right here for the sights. Check that out. RMSC, by the way, for the Shield Plus. Okay. For sights, let's check out the sights. So the Shield Plus, considering that this one is the one for the 30 super carry, these have the really good sights. These are the tritium night sights. The front one also glows at night as well, but it's an orange insert, okay, or a tritium insert around the orange sight. So it's good for daytime or for night. Honestly, these are one of my favorite sights. You know, just because it can go ahead and be for that hybrid type of use. You know, whenever you go to the range, I feel like they're pretty on point, even in the day right here with the orange sight. And then at night, I mean, you know, even if these never hit sunlight or anything like that, they're always just kind of charged up and powered up. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Now, for the Beretta APX A1 compact, these also have pretty good sights. A little more common these days, and that's just going to be fiber sight right there in the front with the blacked out rear. And the purpose for that is because the companies, many times they just want you focusing on the front sight, and a lot of people feel that if you have dotted sights in the back, kind of like the way this one does, you're kind of not focused. I would disagree with that. I would say that you can focus on either just as well, but and again, maybe that's just me, you know what I mean? Serrations, okay? Now for Smith & Wesson, on many of their pieces, they have these fish scale serrations, but not gonna lie, I don't like how they don't have them here in the front. They do have like a little something right here, but they're not all the way up, right? So in other words, you can't really count it on the front of the slide, really. At this point, I would just call them non-existent. Right here, you have them on the back. I love the fish scale serrations. They're awesome. Really grippy. Go ahead and clear that. By the way, 30 Super Carry. These are the hollow tips right here from Hornady. They're probably the best ones you can get for 30 Super Carry. If you go ahead and look at the ballistic gel testing for all of the rounds on YouTube, I say that they are #1 for sure. And let's go ahead and make sure that the slide is clear. Clear chamber right there, as you can see. And again, this is the exact same dimensions as the 9mm. So the trigger, and then reset. Awesome trigger. No need for a trigger upgrade. They do have a few upgrades that would just make it a lot crazier, but you don't need it by any means. You're gonna be good to go with this one pretty much forever. I think it's short and crisp enough where it's gonna respond exactly how you're trying to go. You know, if you're trying to speed shoot, it can definitely, you know, be there on par with you. Now this one, I do have the TLR6 HLG. So this one's that light and laser combo in green. I just really like this one. This is the newer one. It is rechargeable, so it's not just, you know, disposable batteries or anything like that. It comes with like several batteries that you can go ahead and recharge, and they last a pretty good while. I mean, I haven't charged this thing in a long time. I haven't really been using it, but it's been like months, maybe a year, so that I've charged it. So good little light. Also doesn't really go past the muzzle brake. So I mean the muzzle, so it's gonna go ahead and be, you know, the same length right there at the end of the slide. In other words, it's not gonna protrude. Perfect sight right there. Now this one, it's not the traditional Shield Plus, and that's just because I have the Samsung Magwell. A lot of people don't even know that you can put a Magwell on the Shield Plus, but you know, I'm here to tell you and show you that you most definitely can. And you can see it right there. It's completely in there. It's bolted on there. I also have the Handle It Edge series grips right here, and over that I have the Hogue grip. So the Hogue grip, and then for the index points right here, and then all throughout here and here. It's like little mini beads from Handle It Edge series. I like it a lot. This one's probably the best one from Handle It grips. And then yeah, the Magwell, I feel like it's kind of like works like a Pierce grip. You can kind of see it right there. It's for the pinky. It actually fits in the hand pretty good, especially with the Hogue grip. I just feel like you get a good solid grip, like, you know, it's tight, it's firm. You feel like it's gonna really hold in your hand well. Now, we're gonna get into this one right now, okay? We're gonna get into this one right now. But getting into the capacity now, considering this one is chambered in 30 Super Carry, which I would recommend. The 9mm also kicks a lot of ass, so you know, no you know, recommendation for either or. It would actually be for both if you can, but you're not going down by any means by getting the 30 Super Carry. The only issue is that, of course, it's not a popular round by any means, but man, the capacity that you get is just nuts. Look at this, right? You got a 16 round mag of basically a round that can perform just as well as 9mm. Actually, the Federal for 30 Super Carry actually penetrates more than the Federal for the 9mm. Believe it or not, you can look that up. Quote me on that, I'm vouching for it. As crazy as that sounds, it's true. You can get 16. Keep in mind, this is a Shield Plus here. This is not a Glock 19, not even, you know, the APX A1. It's not a compact, it's a micro we're talking about. 16 plus 1. So that means that if you have one in the head, I don't, right? But if you have one in the head, you're looking at 17 rounds right here in this micro compact. This is a Shield Plus. Like, this is absolutely insane. This is crazy. The capacity you can get is just ridiculous. And keep in mind, it has the everything, this package, I honestly really love it. I was thinking about putting a dot, but at the same time, this is a micro compact. I just feel like you know, I already have the extended the Magwell. I got a light. It's already starting to get not too big, right? This is still micro compact. You could totally get a dot in it and it would be cool like that, right? I mean, they do make a lot of, you know, the Shield Plus, there's all types of different holsters and things like that you can get. But you know, before I added all this stuff, this was a really small piece. You know, it's just gotten bigger over time. I honestly think I might keep it like this. I really like it like this. I feel pretty confident with the sights. Like, they're really good. I'm telling y'all, if you guys manage to get one of these, you're not going to go wrong with the sights. I will say though, these sights, they're only available if you get it in 30 super carry, or if you go ahead and buy these sights separately, like from Smith & Wesson or from a different site, you can go ahead and add it to your 9mm Shield Plus, right? Just because, again, it's the exact same piece, just chambered differently. But you know, just the way it comes out of the box, if you already want it there, no hassle, no issue. 30 super carry, they're the ones who offer these night sights with the orange front. Awesome piece. Now, I don't have around rack tier, right? But if you do, super easy to spot that loaded chamber indicator. It's right there. So you can go ahead and see around. A lot of people don't like that because, you know, it can interfere with the gases on the optic glass, but I don't have an optic. There's literally zero consequence from doing that for me. For me, this is like the all-round winner right here. You know, I really like this piece. I like this setup. I would honestly recommend really anybody, you know, going through with something like this. I vouch for it for sure. And you know, it even says right here 30 super carry. I mean, I don't even know how this didn't catch on. I mean, it's even tamer than 9 if you take it to the range. I mean, this round, I mean, it kicks ass. I don't know why it didn't take off. You know, I do know why, right? Because of course the price is greater, but again, for what you're getting, it's definitely worth it. I think that's the best way that I can go ahead and say that. So anyways, that's the Shield Plus. We'll go into you know, more sizing comparisons right now, but I'm just giving you a rundown of each before we go ahead and do that. The Beretta APX A1 Compact. Now, let me tell you what I do really like about this. What I do like about it is that this is also, it's made the exact same way as the APX A1. This one is just a compact version. Well, the APX A1 was also in the military trials, aka this is built extremely durable, and it's made to withstand the craziest conditions for all sorts of things. It could be dirt, sand, water, you name it. I mean, the cycle testing, it's been through the mud and back. You know what I mean? In other words, this is like a military duty grade rated piece right here, and it actually is. You know what I mean? Like in the Wessons and the Glocks and the FNs and the HKs, you know what I mean? It's just, it's part of the big boys. Why? Because it's Beretta. Beretta's been here for literally like 500 years. The oldest gun company that's still running and hanging on here. I think they can talk. You know what I mean? They can definitely talk. They have their credit, and they've earned their credit. You know what I mean? Now, of course, most of their pieces for handguns, you will usually see like, you know, hammer fired and things like that. But honestly, their striker fired pieces, they're amazing. Like, they're honestly great. When I shot this, man, for the first time, I honestly was pretty shocked, because most pieces that you shoot, they kind of feel roughly the same, but there's a little differences. Okay, a little difference in the recoil, a little difference in this, a little difference in that. No, this one you can actually feel it different. Like, it doesn't feel the same. And one of the biggest things, it has to be the texture, right? The texture is amazing. You have texture here. A lot of times there's not texture here. That's why I had to add texture here, because Smith & Wesson doesn't offer texture right here. They only offer it right here where the hand is, but not where the thumb is. So they have it here for the palm. It's checkered front and back, right? Because that's the main part where you grip. For if you're carrying it, it's more like a smooth sandpaper, but it's kind of like a smooth version. That way you don't like get belly rub and things like that. And then right here for the thumb, just so there's that friction. In addition, a lot of pieces also don't have right here the index and the supporting hand texture points. Right here, they have 2 on each, and that depends on your hand size. If you want it closer, if you want it farther. They really, like the texturing, this might be one of the best in the game, not gonna lie. And they just did really well with that. Serrations, I touched on the serrations for these. Like I said, the fish scales are great, but they don't go all the way to the front. That was the issue with that. Beretta, they do it all the way on the top, the way it is here in the back. All the way to the top of back here, all the way to the top over here in the front. So they did really good with that. Over here on this side, I mean, you're gonna see it says 9x19 parabellum, and that just shows you the round that it's chambered in. And by the way, they do have different grips that you can swap out for different sizing. The Shield Plus, since it is a micro compact, they don't offer that. So in other words, you either stay with the size that it's offered, or you can go ahead and add a grip the way I did right here, the whole grip, just for a bigger feel. I guess I kind of like that a little bit right here, just for reference. I'm going to show you again the sizing comparison right now, but this is a large back strap. It's for a large hand. I have medium-sized hands, not really large hands, but I just like the way it feels, because it just it really goes into the palm of your hand really well. APX right here, APX right here. I mean, it is kind of flexing it a bit. They also have texture right here in the front if you want to hold it like European style with your index right here. You know, if you don't want to rock a light or anything like that. So yeah, and I'll go ahead and show you the trigger just the way I showed you the trigger for the other one. All right, so there's the take up right here. Break. Let's check out the reset. Okay, so that one, you can obviously tell that it's a little longer than this one, but I'm honestly telling you, right, like at the range, this one, it shoots super crisp. I feel like it feels a lot shorter in real life than when you're doing it on the dry fire. And when you take it on the range, man, the recoil from this, it's just it's so minimal that I just feel like it's better than most common pieces that you would see anyways. I don't know if it's the texturing that's kind of holding the hand. I don't know if it's just the mass from how thick this is, because it is thick, why lie? It could be the combination, right? But definitely the recoil, it is minimal. Let's go ahead and check out the mag sizes side by side. And again, this mag size, it's going to be the same for the Shield Plus chamber to 9, so it's the same thing. But this is the 16 rounder, which would be equivalent to the sizing of the 13 rounder for the Shield Plus, not the 10 rounder. So compare this to the 13 round Shield Plus mag for the 9mm. Okay, so you can see that it's shorter. You see the top of there and the top of here, and that's because there's a round in this one, right? Round usually is going to add a little. Let's check that out. There you go. To get it flat exactly. There you go. So it's just a little bit over. And then for the thickness though, you can definitely see that this one is thinner than this one. Both are metal. I will say though that Smith's metal, it does seem a lot stronger than this metal, but they're both pretty good too. Indicator holes, right, for the rounds in there. You got 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 15. They're only here on the back. One second. And then over here on this side for the round indicators, you don't have any on the back. Instead, you have them on the side. And you got 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. So this one's on the back, but this one's on the side, but it has more. I'd probably go with this one just because it has more. But then again, you know, when you hit your Canics, when you hit your Glocks, you are a little more used to seeing the back. It all really depends on what you're used to, right? And it does say the round that you're going to be putting in here. It says right here, Cal 9mm, made in Italy. And then over here you see 30 Super Carry with the Smith logo. So that's the mag difference right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the mags back, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and see what the comparison is with the mags inserted, because this is just the way it is in real life. Now for this one, the Beretta, I do want to add a light to it or something like that. But till then, this is what it is. Now this is the back. You can see at the top of this one, it's pretty thin, but then it gets thicker and thicker. And that's just because I have the hoe grip. If you don't, it's much thinner. Again, like I said, with the things that I'm adding, it gets bigger and bigger over time. But I don't really mind that, just considering how short the slide is. You know what I mean? With your appendix carrying, you know, obviously the slide is what's going to hit right there. It's not really the grip. The grip is more for shirts and printing. But either way, right, let's check this out. And you can see more or less with the Hogue grip combined, this one might be a little thicker than the left. But on the top it's thinner for sure right here on the for the shield. Now taking it exactly to the top, I'd say right there, boom. That's the bottom of each. So you say that you could see that the Beretta, it's a little bit longer, maybe what, 1/3 of an inch, something like that. It's a little bit longer, but keep in mind I have the magwell and I have the magazine that's not the 10 rounder or even the 13 rounder for the 30 Super Carry. This is a 16 round mag, right? And from the factory, okay? And this one is a 15 round mag for 9mm. So 15 rounds plus one in the head, you're looking at 16, or 16 rounds plus one in the head, you're looking at 17. But keep in mind, look at the thickness, look at the thinness, and look at how much farther the slide is. That one's a 30 Super Carry, this one's a 9mm. And let's also check this out, right? Just to make sure I don't miss it, we're gonna also check out the barrel lengths, just to make sure that we can go ahead and see what's up. So on the Shield Plus, you're gonna go ahead and see the barrel. I feel like for the Shield Plus, the barrel is actually pretty thick, which is a good thing. You can see right here, I probably should clean that a little bit, right? But it's fine, same idea. The barrel's pretty thick for being 30 Super Carry, and again, that helps with the recoil. It's not, you know, snappy by any means, in my opinion. It's pretty tameable. Of course, there's a slight punch just because the round, it's not a 22 or anything, and considering the size, there should be a natural punch to it. But I just feel like this one is definitely tamer than the 9mm. Anyways, for barrel length, you're looking at 3.1 inches, okay? So just right over 3 inches, 3.1. For the Beretta APX A1 Compact, you're looking at 3.7, okay? So not even 4 inches. So you're looking at a 0.6 difference, 3.1 and 3.7. Now, side by side, let me go ahead and put them like this sideways. Right here. Check that out. Well, then again, the back needs to be also even. There you go. That is like even. Look at the back. And then look at the front. There you go. That's the perfect size comparison, just so you can go ahead and see that. So right there, that's a 0.6 difference. 3.1 on the left, 3.7 on the right. 30 Super Carry on the left, and then 9mm on the right. So that's the barrel comparison right there. All right, now let's go ahead and put these mags back, right? We had our fun checking them out. So at the end of the day, right, it boils down to this. What are each for and who are they meant for, right? I wouldn't really say who it's meant for. I'd actually go ahead and say that it would be dependent on the seasons, right? So, you know, if it's a colder day, if it's, you know, winter or anything, just considering that this one is larger, definitely, you know, like for your, not only the grip, right, but just right here on the mass of the slide. You know, when you think about things like printing, you don't want it to really come out or pop out of the shirt. Things like that, that can go ahead and be easily solved with something like a sweater, something like a jacket, or like a coat, you know, things like that. Yeah, I'd probably say that this one is a little more, just because, again, even if you compare it to like a Glock or even a Smith & Wesson Compact, this one's definitely going to be thicker just because the slide is thick. With that being said, for this one specifically, right, just because the Beretta is like, and again, there's pros and cons to everything, but it can definitely be a good thing. For this one specifically, I definitely have it more cold environment, or, you know, winter oriented, and this one would be my summer carry. Now, with that being said, I do live in a hot environment. You know, I'm based here in South Texas, so In Texas, you know, or especially South Texas, you know, our winters, it's just really a lighter summer. You know, there's not really cold days. It's just hot and less hot, right? But hot it is. So considering that usually it's a hot environment here, unless we have those outlier days where just randomly out of the blue it gets cold. Okay, cool. I can go ahead and rock this. I think I can get pretty proficient on it with my shot placement, things like that. You know, because it's a real easy shooter. I'm not gonna lie. With that being said, this one would definitely be my more common carry. I would definitely be carrying this one more throughout the week. Just, you know, now that's not to say for home defense, right? For home defense, I would prefer this one for sure. Just because I feel like the grip, the texturing, the size, the mass, the recoil, everything. I just feel like this one's probably a little easier to handle. You know, just based off of those obvious things, right? I mean, look at this. But if it's just for carry purposes, I would definitely go with this one for me in my environment, just because we don't really have cold seasons or anything like that. It's usually hot. This one's what I rock with most of the time, not gonna lie. There are times that I carry other things too, right? There are times I'll carry this if I just have or if it's nighttime, right? If it's nighttime and it's not too hot and I want to wear a sweater or a jacket or anything like that, I can go ahead and rock that, right? And I feel totally comfortable in that. I'm just saying, right, for the average heat, when you're wearing an average or a tight shirt, I mean, this one's definitely my go-to. So again, it's not really dependent on the person. It's more dependent on the seasons, in my opinion. However, if you're a extra large guy or anything like that, where this is somehow too small, forget the bodyguard. Even the Shield Plus is just, there's no way you could do that. Well, then go ahead and rock something like this, or rock something like a Glock or a Smith & Wesson Compact, things like that. You know, it depends if you like micros or if you don't. If you like micros, this is the gold standard. I don't even think anybody beats this. A lot of companies will say that they've done things better. The serrations, okay, I'll give that, right? But everything else, build quality, reliability, zero hiccups, by the way, zero jams, zero anything, no light rail, but you can go ahead and add this TLR6 HLG, which kicks ass. You don't even need anything else. You can go ahead and put a dot on it. You can get all sorts of sights for it. You can do anything you want. You can put a mag well. There's so many things. I think this is the golden standard right here. Can't go wrong. And I'm not even just saying that lightly because I have it. I really mean it, right? I would totally pick this over the other Micro 9s just that are available, just because also it's so popular. You can do anything that you want to it, especially if you have the 9mm version. A plethora of options you can get online: threaded barrels, compensators, anything, right? And this magwell, by the way, online, it doesn't even say that it's for the 30 Super Carry. It only says it's for the 9mm, the Shield Plus. Well, I tested it and spent I don't know what it was, 100 and something bucks. I tested everything on my own. It also comes with base plates, by the way, for your mags. You need to change those out too, kind of like Floyd's, but this one is Samsung. So same idea. I went ahead and tested it, and I came to the conclusion, right, that all the parts for the 30 Super Carry and the 9, they are interchangeable. Everything's the same, right? The internals, the placement, the dimensions, the trigger, everything. So just know that as a heads up. You can't go wrong, especially there's crazy deals on this online. And then this one, same idea. There's a lot of the times good rebates for these. With Beretta, man, this one, it just kicks ass. And what makes me a lot happier is just knowing that this one is like actually military rated, just because it was in the military trials. Like it's a really good, you can't go wrong with either, guys. And I really mean that. Let me know what you guys think. I know it's not the most orthodox comparison just because the frames are a different size, but it gives you a good different perspective on what we're dealing with here. You know, micro compact, of course, right? If your finances are there, go ahead and get both, right? That's just what's best. You never know if you're gonna need something for different situations. You might need it when you go out at night, you know, and it's, I don't know, you got a suit on, you got a jacket on, you got a sweater, you're in a cold season, or you're trying to be stealthy. You want zero risk anything. You want the smallest, lightest, you know, all of that stuff. It's a hot environment. Go ahead and get this. And if not, then go ahead and get this. I will say though, that plus that this has, that this doesn't, is that this one is better for home defense. That's another big pro I can give it. But hey, pros and cons to both. Let me know what you guys think. Shield Plus micro compact versus the Beretta APX A1 compact, obviously being a compact. Let me know, guys. Shots with Jay, out.